Hi everybody, welcome back to Miss Roni Reads. Today I'm going to be reading the first chapter of How It Feels to Float by Helena Fox. Let's read the blurb first to see if you're interested. Biz knows how to float. She has her people, her posse, her mum and the twins. She has Grace, and she has her dad who tells her about the little kid she was and who shouldn't be here, but is. So Biz doesn't tell anyone anything. Not about her dark, runaway thoughts, not about kissing Grace or noticing Jasper, the new boy, and she doesn't tell anyone about her dad, because her dad died when she was 7, and Biz knows how to float right there on the surface. Normal, okay, regular, fine. Let's get started. 1. At 3 in the morning, when I can't sleep, the room ticks over in the dark, and all I have for company is the rush of words coming up fast, like those racehorses you see on the television, poor things. And when their hearts give out, they are laid on the ground and shot dead behind a blue sheet. At 3 a.m., I think of hearts. I think of candy hearts and carved tree hearts and hummingbird hearts. I think of hearts in bodies and the rhythm inside us we don't get to choose. I lay my hand over mine. There it is. It beats, beats, skips a beat, 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 beats. A heart is a mystery, and not a mystery. It hides under ribs, pumping blood. You can pull it out, hold it in your hand, squeeze. It wants what it wants. It can be made of gold, glass, stone. It can stop any time. People scratch hearts into benches, draw them onto fogged windows, tattoo them onto their skin, believe the story they tell themselves that hearts are somehow bigger than muscle, that we are something more than an accidental arrangement of molecules, that we are pulled by a force greater than gravity, that love is anything more than a mess of nerves and impulse. Biz, a whisper in the dark. Biz, in my room. I open my eyes and see Dad sitting on the edge of the bed. You need to stop, he says. What? I squint at him. He's blurry. The thinking. I can hear it when you breathe. Dad's wearing a grey sweatshirt. His hands are folded in his lap. He looks tired. You should sleep like you did when you were small, he says. He looks away, smiles. Your tiny fingers tucked under your chin. There's a photo. Dad trails off. Yeah, Dad, I've seen it. The one of us in the hospital after you were born. Yeah, the one just after Mum got her new blood and you fainted and they gave you an orange juice. The one where Mum's laughing up at the camera as I sleep in her arms. Yeah, I've seen it. Dad smiles again. He reaches across to touch me, but of course he can't. That photo has been on every fridge door in every house I've ever lived in. It sits under a plumbing company magnet and beside a clip holding year-old receipts Mum can't seem to throw away. The photo was taken an hour after I came bulleting out of Mum so fast she had to have a transfusion. In the picture, I look like a slug and Dad looks flattened like he's seen a car accident, but Mum's face is bright, open, happy. All of the other photos are in albums on our living room bookshelf next to the non-working fireplace. The albums hold every picture of me Dad ever took until he died, and all the ones of me Mum took until smartphones came along and she stopped printing me onto paper. I'm now partly inside a frozen computer Mum keeps me meaning to get fixed, and on an overcrowded iPhone she keeps meaning to download. And I'm in the photos friends have taken when I've let them, and the ones the twins have taken with their eyes since they were babies. I'm in the ocean I walk beside when I skip school, and in the clouds where I imagine myself sometimes. I'm in the look on my friend Grace's face a second after I kissed her, 5 seconds before she said she thought of me as a friend. I blink. Dad's gone again. The room is empty, but for me, my bed, my walls, my thoughts, my things, it's 4 in the morning? I have a physics test at 8. My ribs hurt. Behind them, my heart beats. Beat, beat, beats. Beat skips a beat. Beat, beat, beats. Chapter 2. My name is Elizabeth Martin Gray, but no one I know calls me that. The Martin is for Dad's dad, who died in a farm accident when he was 30 and Dad was 10. I was 7 when Dad dies, which means I had less time with Dad alive than Dad had with his. There's never enough time. Actually, there's too much and too little in unequal parts. More than enough of time passing, but not enough of the time past, right? Ratio of the time you want versus the time you get, a rough estimate, 1 to 20,000. Ratio of Dad's time as the son of Martin, as the living father of Biz, as my dead dad sitting on the edge of my bed telling me stories, 1 to 0.7 to infinity. Chapter 3. Monday morning, 7:30, and it's so hot the house feels like it's melting. Cicadas scream through the windows. The dog pants on the kitchen floor. I had a shower 5 minutes ago and I'm already sweating through my shirt. Ugh, I say, flopping over the kitchen counter, crumpled uniforms on, shoes untied. Mum reads my face and sighs. She's making breakfast for the twins. Be grateful you get to have an education, Biz. She waggles a spatula. Not everyone's as lucky. I peer at her. You might have read me wrong, Mum. Maybe I meant, how I wish school lasted all weekend. I have missed it so very much. I'm a month into year 11, which is ridiculous because I am a nano and unformed, but I'm still supposed to write essays about Lenin and Richard III and urban sprawl. Year 11 is a big deal. We're only seconds away, the teachers say, from our final exams. The teachers can't stop revving us up about our impending future. This is a big deal, say the teachers of English, science, art, maths, music, geography, and other important subjects in which we are not remotely interested but are taking so that we can get a good mark. You need to take it seriously. You need to be prepared. You need to not freak out, then have to go to the counsellor because we've freaked you out. I open the fridge. I'm going to sit in here, okay? Just for a minute. Let me squat next to the broccoli. Mum laughs. She's making banana pancakes. Billy and Dart drool over their waiting plates. The twins have the morning off school. They're going to the dentist. They love the dentist. It's where Mum works, so they get extra toothbrushes and as many little packs of floss and toothpaste as they can carry in their hands. Are they ready yet? Says my brother, Dart, 6 years old. Come on, Mum, I'm starving to death, says my sister, Billy, 19 minutes younger than Dart. Give me a second, says Mum. A watched pancake never boils. She flips one over. It looks scorched. Mum doesn't love cooking. I can't see how she can be anywhere near a stove in this heat. I grab some coconut yogurt and grapes out of the fridge. Did you study for your test? Absolutely, I say, and it's true if you count watching YouTube videos and listening to music while reading the textbook studying. I don't know if I'm ready. There's the lack of sleep thing and the not having spoken properly to Grace since I kissed her thing, which makes today impossible and complicated before it even begins. I hug Mum goodbye and smooch the twins' cheeks as they squirm. I grab my bike from the shed, ride it for 30 seconds before I realise the front tyre is flat. Ugh, that's right. When did the tyre go? Friday? No, Thursday. Shit, Biz, you had one job. A magpie laughs from a nearby tree. His magpie friend looks down, then joins in. I could ask Mum to drive me, but I know what she'd say. Do I look like a taxi, Biz? I could skip school, but then I'd miss my test and ruin my impending future. I shove the bike back in the shed and start walking. Chapter 4. Or are we up to 3? I can't remember. I live with Mum and the twins in Wollongong in a blue-clad house on the street wallpapered with trees. We moved here a few years ago after moving to the lot of other places. We're 1.5 hours south of Sydney. The city is not too big, not too small. It's just right for now, says Mum. The city sits beside the sea, under an escarpment. The sea pushes at the shore, shoving under rocks and dunes and lovers. Craggy cliffs lean over us, trying to read what we've written. The city is long, like a finger. It was a steel town once. There, that's the tour. When I was 7, Mum, Dad and I lived up north, near Queensland, in the Australian jungle, Mum likes to say. She says the mosquitoes were full on, but I don't remember them. I remember frogs click-clacking at night in the creek at the bottom of the hill. The house was wooden. It had stilts. The backyard was a steep tangle of eucalypts and ferns and figs and shrubs. You could see hills like women's boobs all around. I'd wake up and hear kookaburras. Light would come in through my curtainless windows and lift me out of bed. I'd run into Mum and Dad's room and jump on them to wake them up. I had a puppy. I called him Bumpy. Our street is flat now. It goes past a park where I walk the dog and he sniffs and sniffs the shit left by other dogs. I can walk to school in 15 minutes, or I can walk straight past it and go to the sea. Or, if I want to be a total rebel, I can go to the opposite direction in 15 minutes, end up in a rainforest under a mountain, gathering leeches for my leech army. On the walk to school, the cicadas keep me company. They scream from one huge gum tree to another. I pass the community centre, I pass the park. I get to the end of the cul-de-sac and wait under the bleaching sun to cross the freeway. Traffic balls past. I can feel my skin frying. I can feel cancer pooling in my freckles. I can feel the road tar melting under my feet as I scurry across the road. Past the freeway there's a vet, a pub and a train station. Every day I have to cross the train tracks to get to school. Every time I think, what if the signals are wrong and a train comes out of the blue and hits me as I cross? A woman walked against the signal once, not here, but close enough it might as well be here. She was in a rush, they said. She ignored the ringing bells, the dropping barrier. She got halfway and thought better of it. She turned back. The train came. Every time I cross the tracks, I think of her and try not to think of her. I've traced and retraced her last moments in my head. I have Googled her and I know the names of her family, the job she had, the music she listened to, and the last concert she saw before she died. I can feel the tightness of her skin when she saw the train and how sweat sprang up a moment before the train hit. Step. And how her pupils widened. Step. And turned my eyes to black. Step. And in that infinite molecular moment, I can't remember if I meant to cross or have paused on the track, and I'm waiting here. Hey, Biz. I turn my head. Dad's walking beside me, barefoot in his running shorts and Kiss t-shirt. Do you remember your first train ride? No, I don't remember that, Dad. It was a steam train. You were 4. We went through a rainforest. We went really high up a mountain and visited a butterfly sanctuary, and you flapped around like a monarch. You were beautiful. Is that right, Dad? You should flap around. Try it, Biz. It'll shake off the frets. I look down. I'm over the train tracks and past the station. I'm on the path. It opens in front of me, green grass on both sides, the sun beaming. I think of butterflies. I think of flying. Dad laughs. He's gone by the time I reach the school gate. Chapter 4. I walk into physics just as Ms. Hastings is handing out our tests. Ms. Hastings gives me a "young lady, you're late" look. I give her a "tell me about it" and "have you noticed I'm swimming in a pool of sweat" look. Ms. Hastings raises an eyebrow. I sit at my desk. Miss Hastings lays our tests face down. She does the regular threats. You must not look at anyone's work and put away your phones and your time starts now. We flip our pages over. Turns out I am ready for the test. My brain fires up and the neurons make my hand move and the formulas come out like good little ponies at a show. Most of my tests are fairly easy, which isn't me boasting. It's just a statement of fact. Mum says I might have a photographic memory, which is good for Mum because she often forgets her PIN numbers and passwords. Mum could be right. All I have to do is look at something and it sticks. Sometimes the image repeats like a GIF. I can't turn off. The room fills with the buzz of numbers. Pi scuttles over our papers. Theorems talk over to themselves. Miss Hastings looks at her phone, probably at some friend skydiving or snorkeling in the Bahamas while she's trapped in here with us. The bell rings. Time's up, calls Miss Hastings. We hand in our tests. Next class is English. I don't chat or dawdle in the corridors. I slip between the crowds, a fish weaving. In 55 minutes I'll have to speak to Grace. Just keep swimming, Biz. Mr. Birch stands like a flamingo in front of the class, one foot scratching the back of his leg. Okay, everyone, he says, today we'll be writing about the ego, that is your alter ego. Consider your readings over the weekend and the work of Plath in this context. A collective groan from all of us. We've done Plath now for 3 long weeks and no one is a fan. I mean, we all feel for her, but at this point we've read her and analysed her and discussed her and it's like peeling an onion until there's no onion left. I want you to write a description of your alter ego due at the end of the day, Mr. Birch says, ignoring our protests. In case we don't remember what he's just said, he writes it on the whiteboard, his blue pen squeaking. He then sits at his chip desk behind his PC doing paperwork. We hunker down to do the assignment. That is, some of us do the assignment, some of us daydream. The new boy pulls out a book and reads it behind his laptop screen. Fans flick, flick above us. A trickle of sweat moves down between my boobs. I stare at my computer. I don't much like to write about myself. It's not my thing, discussing any part of me. Over the years, Mum has suggested we go see people because Dad is dead, but then we put it off. I did sit with a man once when I was 7.5 in a room with a yellow painted wall and framed cat pictures. The man had round glasses like Harry Potter. He laid out paper and blunt colouring pencils and said, "Draw," so I did. Then he hummed and hawed and said, "I'll just speak to your mum now, okay?" And when Mum came back, her eyes were really red, so I didn't draw for anyone after that. The cursor blinks on, off. I take a breath and dive in. My Alter Ego, a meditation/poem by Elizabeth Gray. Consider the ego. The ego is defined as a person's sense of self, which includes but is not limited to self-esteem, self-worth, and self-importance. Don't we all think ourselves important, that we matter? We are matter. That part is true. But do we? And is it possible to have an alter self, i.e. an opposite matterless self? No, such a thing cannot exist. The universe is made of matter, and if I am an alter or other, then I would be lacking matter or a sense of matter, and as such cannot be in the universe. And if I am outside the universe, that makes me a singularity, a concept, and impossible to imagine. Therefore, my alter ego is beyond my capability for imagining, and thus cannot be described. The end. P.S. Some say God is a singularity, but people imagine God all the time. They think he looks like someone's white grandpa or Santa Claus. God's alter ego is sometimes called a dog. Sorry. It should be added that dogs exist and have the potential to exist throughout the known universe. So it is possible that my earlier hypothesis is wrong. I close my laptop, look up at Mr. Birch, who will get to read this masterpiece tonight. What a lucky guy. The bell rings. "Please email me your essays by midnight," calls Mr. Birch over the scrapes of chairs and the shoving of laptops into bags, the clatter of our bodies beelining to the door. Now it's recess. At recess and lunch, I always sit with Grace, and Evie and Stu and Miff and Rob and Sal, the posse, they call themselves. I should say we, as a collective, call ourselves the posse. I am in the posse. I am an integral member of the posse, I think. Grace and I have sat with the posse since the first day of Year 9. We were both new. Evie saw us hovering uncertainly in the schoolyard and decided we belonged to her. She brought us over to the bench under the tree by the fence. There, everyone interviewed us. What bands did we like? Did we prefer a day at the beach or inside? Had we read the Communist Manifesto? Had we seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? Did we like it? Did we have a tattoo? If not, what would we get and where? The group made the questions sound like a conversation, but I could feel everyone marking us invisibly. Tick, tick, cross, tick, tick. I let Grace answer first and watched everyone's faces. I crafted my answers the way their smiles went. In the end, it was okay. We could stay, but of course we could stay. The posse is inclusive. The posse is love incarnate. We would have more people in the posse, but most people are stupid, says Miff. We, the posse, agree. Before I came to this school, I was never in a group, so being in one, especially one with a name, was quite the novelty. It still is, because, I belong to 6 other people, and they say they miss me when I'm not there. I've sat on the bench under the tree by the fence for just over 2 years now, laughing and saying things I think I'm supposed to. And almost every second of every minute I'm with them, I feel like I'm seeing the scene from somewhere else, in front of a screen maybe, watching someone else's life. What an intriguing start. How it feels to float sounds like a real meditation on someone who feels a bit disconnected. I'm interested in this story and I'd love to know if you read it. Please let me know. We have a copy in our school library, so if you're interested, borrow it and then chat to me about it. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.